I am Dina Foster. I'm the dietitian at Hy-Vee over on the east side of Madison and East Washington Avenue. There will be 2 more stores opening up next spring and summer. Spring at Westgate Mall and summer in Fitchburg across from Super Target on, I think, McKee Road, PD area. You're here today to learn about some superfoods. So if you didn't grab a handout, you can grab it on the way out, or you can get up and grab one. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going to kind of touch quickly on each one of these. I brought some examples of a couple that I could do. And if you have any questions throughout, please you can just shout them out or raise your hand. It doesn't really matter to me. The first one I'll start with is, well, I'll explain superfoods. Superfoods are kind of the notion that these particular foods are going to give you benefit, an extra benefit, beyond just the standard vitamins and minerals that they have. They may, and I emphasize may because, there's still probably ongoing studies on each one of these to make sure, of their proposed health benefits, but they may help either improve health conditions that you might have or prevent them or just improve your overall health. And so that's kind of the notion of a superfood. The first one I'll start with is chia seeds. How many have heard of them? Use them? Yay. Okay, well, I'll pass them around because they're kind of a funny little seed. They look like a poppy seed and they really have no flavor at all whatsoever. You can use them in place of poppy seeds if you're baking, but they act like flax seed. Flax seed you need to mill, or else you won't get any benefits from it. So you need to have it in a powder instead of in the whole seed. Whereas a chia seed, its shell, so to speak, will disintegrate once it enters your body. So that's kind of one benefit, is why people like chia seeds better than flax seed, because you just don't have to mill them and grind them. You can actually put them in a cup of hot, or a little hot water, and they'll turn into a gel. So that's exactly what it's going to do in your body when it hits your stomach. They say there's some filling, it makes you full because it turns into a gel, it takes up space in your stomach. But you can use them just as you would flaxseed, in your smoothies, on your yogurt, in your cereal. Yeah.
Is there, I think I've heard of chia tea.
Chai tea. Chai tea. The I and the A are mixed up. Yeah, chia is, and it's the actual seeds that you would grow a chia pet with. I know it is. They've been around for years, eons, and we've just been smearing them all over terracotta and watching them grow, but we should have been eating them, really. Great source of fiber, great source of omega-3 fatty acids, just slightly higher than flaxseed in both. So really a good thing. Berries. Berries are loaded with fiber, full of antioxidants. It doesn't matter which berry you eat, just try to get a variety of them. And with all of the foods that are listed in the superfoods group, it's kind of like there's a family of each one of these. It's not just the specific ones mentioned in the handout, but kind of the family that they're in. So chia seeds, you could definitely include flax seeds in there as well, because they do act the same. Berries are, as I mentioned, loaded with fiber, so they're going to help with possibly cholesterol-lowering properties. They're going to keep you regular, and they have the anthocyanins, I think I'm saying that right, that protect against heart disease and cancer. So berries are a good thing. The cruciferous vegetables, I call them the stinky, smelly vegetables, and they're stinky and smelly because of the sulfur-fluorine that's in them, and that's what makes them so good for you. They have the cancer-preventing properties in them, lower risk, helping to lower your risk of cancer. And then again, just try to get a variety. Kale is real big lately in this group. Brussels sprouts, your cabbage, your cauliflower, your broccoli are all going to be in this family. You can even include onions in this family as well.
Like kale.
Kale, a lot of people will put kale in soup. Kale chips are all the rage these days, where you just cut it up, throw it on a baking sheet, drizzle a little olive oil over them, and roast them essentially, and they'll turn kind of crispy and crunchy. At Hy-Vee, we have this really great kale salad that's kind of marinated with onions and sunflower seeds in a Bragg's amino acid, which is just a different kind of soy sauce, lower in sodium. It's delicious. But like I said, soups, stir fries, they're great in. A lot of people don't like it raw because they feel it's bitter. So a good, marinade kind of a thing is good. I am a huge fan of roasting vegetables. Instead of boiling them, I don't boil, just because all of your vitamins go into your water. Unless you're going to repurpose that water, you're going to lose all the vitamins. But I love roasting them 400 degrees on a sheet pan with a little olive oil and some salt and pepper, and it's delicious. It brings out a real nutty flavor, especially in this cruciferous group. Brussels sprouts, they're going to make your house stink to high heaven when you roast them in the oven. It's going to smell like feet, but they're way better. It's the best way I've ever had Brussels sprouts is roasted in the oven. I have a friend who's vegetarian, and she swears that when she roasts her cauliflower with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper, and a little bit of garlic, she says it tastes like meat. So she swears by it.
How long do you roast it?
Well, when I do asparagus, I do it for like 10 minutes. But I've done potatoes. I would say like your potatoes, your beets are going to be the same with like your broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, 20 to 30 minutes. But just watch them. They will start to turn brown if they've gone past the point of no return. But yeah, I would say probably your broccoli or cauliflower a little bit sooner than your potatoes.
And is that in the middle of the oven, or is it a little bit higher than the middle?
Oh, I just throw them in.
It's not too close, to the...
Yeah, probably your middle or your upper rack.
And you're putting it on broil?
Nope,
or
just at 400.
Bake? Okay.
Bake them at 400.
Okay.
Beans, they really are magical. Loaded with fiber, B vitamins. Again, it doesn't matter which kind of beans you're using. Just try to incorporate them in your diet. Full of fiber, and fiber is going to glom onto that cholesterol and fat we've got floating around in our body. And because we don't digest fiber, it's going to eliminate it. So that's kind of the good thing about fiber. And all of these that I've mentioned so far have fiber in them. A majority of them do. With the exception of your tea and your salmon, you're going to get fiber from each one of these. Canned or dried, whichever works best for you. I can't do dried. I've tried. It doesn't work for me. I don't know how to do it. I have tried several times. So I get the canned. I rinse them really good to get that extra sodium off of them. In a colander, 3 to 5 minutes under running water, and it rinses a lot of that extra away. You can throw them on top of your salads, garbanzo beans, black beans, really great on your salads. Or, look to your hummuses, your traditional chickpea hummus. In our store, we've got some made with white beans, with lentils. The lentil one is delicious. And even soybeans, edamame hummus, too. So it's, look out there for those kinds of things. Greek yogurt is all the rage these days. And Greek yogurt is simply the straining process. You can make your own Greek yogurt at home by simply getting, I prefer the non-fat, just for the heart and the low saturated, no fat properties of it. You can take a plain 0% fat yogurt, line your fine wire colander with either, I've heard of paper towel, coffee, filters, or cheesecloth over a bowl. Pour the yogurt in there and set it in your fridge overnight, and all the extra liquid or the whey is going to come out of it in the bowl, and then you're left with the thick creaminess that's left, so you can make your own. Essentially, it's concentrated in protein because all the extra liquid is out of it. So it's about twice the value of protein as your traditional yogurt. Lots of vitamin D, calcium, and they go together. So, just watch for those. Just because it's Greek yogurt, and you buy the strawberry with the fruit on the bottom, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the best choice. So try to choose, the lowest sugar ones you can. The plain, the vanilla, yeah.
Well, you mentioned about making your own yogurt. Do you have the yogurt with the cultures in your store where you can make your own? Or?
We do. We have starter packets for both yogurt and kefir if you want. But if you want to make your own yogurt. The people that I've talked to who have done it they just buy like a little cup of plain yogurt as their starter.
Okay.
So you can just use regular yogurt as your starter. You don't have to buy the fancy yogurt starters.
Okay.
But I've heard of people doing it in a crock pot and just like they make their own yogurt. And then if you wanted the Greek, you'd want to strain it afterwards. But yeah, just use some plain yogurt
Okay.
as your starter.
Okay.
Okay, nuts are another good thing. Again, with the fiber, they're the heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, which is what we want to try to replace and have the majority of in our diet. Those aren't going to be as detrimental to our arteries as the saturated fat. Great source of vitamin E and selenium, which are always good too. A lot of heart health involved in the nuts. Whole grains. This is, the area that I think we probably could use a lot of work in and get a little bit better at. When you're choosing your breads for a sandwich or your toast, try to make sure that the first ingredient in your bread is a whole grain, like whole wheat flour, whole rye, whole pumpernickel, whole oats, Just make sure that word whole is there. Enriched does not mean that it's whole. It means that the 3 layers have been stripped and you're just using the inside, and then they fortify it back with your vitamins and minerals. Same thing with your other grains, your pasta, your rice. Try to use a brown rice or a whole wheat or a multi-grain pasta. I can't do the whole wheat. I'm going to probably say I can't do whole wheat pasta. I don't like it. So I compromise and I go in the middle where I do kind of the multi-grain, where it's the enriched white with some good stuff added to it. It's like a blend of both. And for me, that makes me happy. Otherwise, I'll do spaghetti squash if I'm going to really engorge myself in spaghetti, because I don't feel so bad. But, and experiment too with your ancient grains. And ancient grains are, again, really trending now. Your quinoa, your amaranth, triticale, millet, some of the ones that have been around for years and years and years, and we've never used them. But they really are going to be a great substitute for rice. A lot of them cook up exactly like rice. You're going to boil it. It's a 1-to-2 ratio kind of a thing. But yet they're going to pack a whole lot more nutrition and a lot more benefits to those. Again, this group has a lot of fiber in it, which help reduce your cholesterol and really help prevent that cancer too. Tea is great. Lots of antioxidants in tea, and you're going to find that in the black, the green, the white, and the oolong. So if you're looking to drink tea for the antioxidant benefits, herbal teas aren't going to do anything for you as far as antioxidants. The herbals are going to be great if you're going to go the homeopathic route and do it for that benefit. But if you're strictly looking for antioxidants, make sure it's black, white, green, or the oolong. Lots and lots of antioxidants. Soy, I tread lightly on soy because really I always recommend that if you're going to be adding a lot of soy into your diet, that you always talk to your doctor first, just simply because it might react. If you've got a history of certain cancers in your family, it acts like an estrogen in your body. So you just have to be, you have to make your doctor aware of things that are going on. And but soy is great. It's got some cholesterol lowering properties. It's a great plant source of protein. It's gonna, protect your bones, and there's lots of forms of soy out there, whether it's in soy nuts, edamame, soy milk, tofu. It's a good option for a lot of people, especially if they decided to not eat meat or chicken or fish or anything like that. So it's a really good option for people. And then finally, salmon and other of the fatty fishes, like your tuna, your mackerel. I had one last week in the store that we got new. It's called cobia. Has anybody heard of cobia? I had not. It is in this class of fatty fish, but it's a white fish, and it tastes very almost like you're eating like a buttery lobster or your cod soaked in butter, but yet it's all the good fats. It's the omega-3 fats, and the omega-3s, really are the anti-inflammatory of food, because they're going to go in and they're going to help lower your help lower the inflammation that's in your body.
What was the name of that fish that you said?
Cobia.
Cobia.
Cobia, yes. There was one gentleman I talked to in the store, and he had it when he was in Hawaii. So I believe it's a Pacific area fish. But it was delicious, and for those people who don't like salmon because it's too fishy flavored, this tasted like a really butter-soaked cod. This was my best, which who doesn't love that? Lots of people do. And the omega-3s too, another benefit of them is the cholesterol-lowering properties. They can raise your HDL and lower your triglycerides as well. I try to recommend to people to get just one more serving of fatty fish per week. If you're not getting any, try to have one. And if you just don't care for fish at all, you could look to your plant sources, like your nuts and your chia seeds and your flaxseed. And then supplementation too is always recommended, just simply because the omega-3s have such a good benefit. But if you're going to supplement, make sure you try to get 1,000 milligrams of the DHA plus the EPA. Labels on the front of your vitamins may be deceiving. So flip it over and look at the supplement facts and make sure that the EPA and the DHA are going to give you 1,000 milligrams a day or higher. Do you guys have any questions?
Where would you find?
What about wheat germ?
Wheat germ, again, it's a great thing, full of vitamin E. I would tell you, obviously, if you want to include it in your diet, do it. It's not going to harm you at all. And again, you can do lots of stuff with wheat germ. Sprinkle it on your cereal. I know people who do it with popcorn. Adds a lot of really nice nutty flavor to some things. But yes.
Is that toasted or untoasted?
Wheat germ is usually untoasted, I believe. You can buy it in bulk, you can buy it in a jar. I think it's one of those things that you're going to want to keep in the fridge so that it doesn't perish quickly. But a good source of vitamin E.
Where would you find the chia seeds in the store?
Chia seeds are going to be, and I'm bad because I only shop at Hy-Vee. I know where they are at Hy-Vee, but I don't really know where they are anywhere else. I think they're going to be by your flaxseed, which I think is going to be in the cereal aisle. Who buys flaxseed around here?
Or it's in like the health food.
Yeah, if you have a health food section at the store that you shop in, it's going to be there. But for those that don't have a health food section, I would say in your cereal aisle or with like your grains, like your rice and your quinoa and stuff like that.
Where would it be at Hy-Vee?
Hy-Vee, we have it in our health market, which is our natural organic food section, and we have it in our gluten-free foods aisle. We actually have it 2 places, but they're right next to each other. But yeah, in our health food section.
So the Nuval score?
Yes.
Can you just explain that?
I can, very quickly. Nuval is an independent scoring system that we use at our store. I know I realized that Nuval was on here after I got here. I was like, oh, I hope we get time. What it does is it's an algorithm that takes what you see on the Nutrition Facts panel, plugs it into this algorithm, and it comes out with a score of 1 to 100, with 100 being the most nutritious. I don't say healthy, I say nutritious, because it's strictly going off of your nutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, carbs, fats, proteins, everything you see on the Nutrition Facts panel. And then what you're going to do with that is you're going to compare like foods. So you're going to compare just fruit to fruit, veggies to veggies, the cereals, the breads. You're only going to compare those to one another, with the goal being to choose the highest scores in each food grouping. So you guys see here that, berries are 100. Most of these things have on here very high scores, which reflect that they have pretty high nutrient packages. And that's the goal. If you're, like chips have a score. I use the example of sour cream chips. Pringles are a 4. Your Lay's sour cream and onion are a 24, and a baked Lay is a 27. They are all going to taste kind of the same, but you're really getting more nutrition just by making a swap. And that's what when I instruct people on Nouvelle. That's the goal that I want them to have, is just to trade up and find something that's going to taste the same, but it's going to have a higher score. You can do it with crackers. Crackers are easy because, you know, even among your store brands, like I've just noticed, you know, that sometimes the Hy-Vee brand will have a higher score than a national brand, and then sometimes it will be vice versa. It doesn't really, it's all in how they're formulated. And, you know, there's been kind of a buzz among manufacturers. They don't really like it so much because it exposes what's inside of it. And a lot of them have done reformulations to get the Nouvelle score higher, which I say, yay. That's kind of the goal, is to make our products more nutritious for us and, you know, nourish our bodies, because that's what we're looking for. I went through that super fast. But yeah, you can go around and look at the foods that you're buying and hopefully get something a little bit higher in the score.
I have a question about, you mentioned about the crackers and so forth. At your store, do you have crackers or a variety of crackers that do not have high fructose corn syrup in them?
I'm sure we do. I know the Kashi products do not use high fructose corn syrup. And offhand, that's the only one I know of. Because there's a lot of crackers.
Right. Right.
And, but you know, high fructose corn syrup is in a lot of places, and you know, the same with hydrogenated oils. You know, that's another hot button area that if you're looking to improve what you're eating is a good place to look. You know, hydrogenated oils and partially hydrogenated oils are in a lot of our processed foods, and if it's not a hydrogenated oil, it's a highly saturated fat like a palm oil or a palm fruit oil, palm kernel oil, even coconut oil. And you know, I sit right in the middle on coconut oil because I just don't know enough, positive or negative. But a lot of people are substituting coconut oil for olive oil, which I would never, and I would never recommend people to do so. But there's lots of claims about coconut oil right now and how it acts differently in your body, and helps to kind of get your thyroid happy and help with weight loss, supposedly. But I need to see more, personally, about that. Good questions. Does anybody have any more questions? Otherwise, we can get out early. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, there's a commercial out now that's talking, saying that high fructose corn syrup really doesn't affect the body.
It's a sugar, and our body processes all sugars the same. So there's truth in that.
Oh, you're fine.
I think it's an individual, you know, it's an individual preference, I think, as to whether or not you want to choose high fructose corn syrup. It's high controversy, and I stay away from that. I stay neutral. You know, do I watch how much high fructose corn syrup I purchase? I do, but that's, you know, my personal preference. You know, there's a lot of people who raise corn that work really hard, and that's where their crops go to. And so I would never, you know, want to slam what they do for a living, because I wouldn't want them doing the same for me. So I give information and I let people make their own choices. That's kind of my stance on a lot of things.
Okay.
When I look at my diet, I look at calories, but I really look at fat grams and try to watch my fat grams. I have a hard time eating nuts because of how many fat grams.
Right, and
how do I balance that?
Yeah, and it's changing your mentality about fat, because there are, you know, there's good fats and there's bad fats. You know, and the kind of fats that we're going to find in almonds and in salmon, or in all of your nuts and all of your seeds, is the good kind of fat, the monounsaturated fat that I mentioned before. And that's kind of really the goal. When the dietary guidelines were revised last 2 years ago, the emphasis is to switch your fats from saturated to unsaturated. Now, does that mean you get free license to eat oodles and oodles of nuts? No, because it's still fat, and fat is going to put calories on regardless. So it's kind of changing that this is a good fat. This is the kind of fat we want to have. You know, the kind of fat that we want to limit is the kind that's in, you know, our butters, in our red meats, in our whole milk, in our cheeses, things like that. We want to kind of watch and be mindful of, because that's the kind of fat that's going to clog our arteries, raise our LDLs, which in turn raises our cholesterol. And this is the kind of fat that our arteries and our body likes. It's going to be less detrimental. But yes, fat has calories. So, you know, if you're going to have nuts, keep it to that handful. You know, 1 ounce, 5 days a week is actually what's recommended by a lot of people.
And sometimes the fats keep you fuller than if you have non-fat calories. So.
They do. It's a good satiety too. You know, if you're watching your fat completely, you're going to probably be hungry all the time or not satisfied, or, you know, and for years and years and years we've been scared of fat, and it's this fat-free everything, and, you know, it's kind of trying to change and embrace fat, but the good fat, you know, but it's hard. It's not easy to do that, because we do see fat and we're like, we shouldn't have fat, and it's hard to change.
Well, and sometimes
Fat.
if you look at a fat-free something and a low-fat, it's got more calories than the fat-free because it put all this other stuff
Sugar
in it to
and
make it
salt
taste
and exactly. Thank you so much. Have a great one.